Find the volume of the solid whose base is region W and whose cross-section is perpendicular to the x-axis or squares. Okay, so we're perpendicular to the x-axis here. And so we're going from 0 to this x value, which is 2. So 0 to 2. And anytime you're doing cross-sections, you integrate whatever area formula you have. Well, in this case, we have squares. So this here represents the base length of our cross-section of a square. Top minus bottom, so negative x plus 6 minus x squared. So we're just going to integrate from 0 to 2, negative x plus 6 minus x squared, squared, because that's the area of a square. Area of a square is side squared. When you do that, you should get 35.352. Okay, number 3. It says, let R be the region enclosed by the graphs of the cube root of x. So let's enter in the cube root of x. So you can just say x to the 1/3 power. And y equals 0 and x equals 8. Okay, so if I graph this, if I want to do y equals 0 and x equals 8. Alright, so I have this cube root function. Y equals 0 is this line here. And I know that it intersects at 0, 0. And x equals 8. So this is 0 to 8, and this is y equals the cube root of x. Which, if you want to find out where it equals 8, well, what's the cube root of 8? 2. Okay, so if I plug 8 into this function, you get the y value right here of 2. You're rotating around the x-axis. Okay, so first if I rotate around the x-axis, that's dx, and so my limits are from 0 to 8. So go ahead and write 0 to 8. Don't forget your pi, and dx. So, if I'm rotating around the x-axis, this region is flat up against the axis. There's one radius. You start on the axis to the furthest point, top minus bottom, so it's just the cube root of x squared. Okay? In your calculator, you can type in, I'll type this one in. Okay, math 9, and then I'm going to type x, parentheses x to the parentheses 1/3, parentheses squared, in case you don't know how to do that by hand, comma x, comma 0, comma 8, and then, wait for it, times pi, so we have 60.319. Find the line of the solid when you rotate around the y-axis. Okay, so if I take this guy and I rotate him around the y-axis, automatically you know you're going to go from 0 to 2 because y-axis means dy. So get used to that. If I rotate around here, you start from the axis to the furthest point. From the axis to the furthest point. So big R is right minus left. So 8 minus 0. So big R is this distance here, which is 8. Little r is from the axis to the closest point. So little r, you cannot call this the x to the 1/3. You have to solve for x, so you would do that by cubing. So this is the same thing as y cubed. So y cubed minus 0 is just y cubed. So minus y cubed squared. And if you enter that into the calculator, you should come out with 344.678. Lastly, take this solid and rotate him around the line x equals 11. Okay, so automatically I'm going in a vertical rotation, so that's my y limits of integration. And it's a washer because there's clearly a gap, so from the axis to the furthest point is right minus left, so 11 minus this guy, which is called y cubed. And then minus your little r from the axis to the closest point. From the axis to the closest point. Notice that's constant. It's right minus left, so it's just 3. And when you type that in, you should get 484.703. Moving right along. Number 4 is let P be the region enclosed by yada yada yada. We have to graph these graphs, so we have x squared minus 4x plus 7 and 3/2 x plus 3. Oh no! What do I do when I can't see my window? Change it to zoom 6. That's zoom standard. It sets your window back to what you're normally looking at. Okay, so I have this guy. I need to find those intersection points. So second trace number 5. Enter, enter, enter. Ooh, ugly intersection points. Okay, so I'm going to call this point right here point 1. Okay, so point 1 I'm going to call AC, and it's equal to 0.863 comma 4.294. I'm just going to store both these values. So I'm going to go to the home screen and say x stow alpha A, and then y, you call up y by doing alpha 1 stow, I'm going to store it in C. So now I can just reference them whenever I need to. So this is A and this is C. And then point 2, let's go back to the graph. Second trace number 5. Get over, hopefully it's not off the screen. If it is, I'll have to change my window. Enter, enter, enter. Okay, so this point, point 2, I'm going to call 4.637 comma 9.956. I'm going to call that point B comma D. Okay, so this is B and this is D. So come back to your home screen and do X stow alpha B. You can call them whatever you want. And then Y, you call it by doing alpha 1 stow alpha, where's T? Okay, so I have all these values stored. Find the area. So to find the area, that's easy to do dx. Draw a vertical rectangle because the top is always the top and the bottom is always the bottom. So you integrate from A to B, top minus bottom, so 3/2 x plus 3 minus x squared minus 4x plus 7. Make sure you put this in parentheses. Or we can just use all our fancy stuff. This was called y2, this is called y1. So in the calculator, you could do this. Math 9. And then to call up y2, vars, y vars, enter, enter. Oh, whoops. Vars, y vars, enter, arrow down, enter, minus vars, y vars, enter, enter, comma x, comma alpha A, comma alpha B. And we get 8.965. Find the volume of solid form when region P is rotated around the line y equals 12. Okay, so I want to change my window just so I can get up to 12. I'll change this to 14 just so I can kind of see. And I'll put y equals 12. You don't have to do this, but just so you can kind of see what's going on. Y equals 12 is going to be above this intersection point, which is important to know. Okay, so basically we're taking this region, we're rotating him around this line up here. Y equals 12. Since it's a horizontal region, horizontal means dx, so go ahead and get those points by using a and b, don't forget pi, and dx. So a washer problem because this is not flat up against there. There's no way it could be because this is a slanted line and this is a flat line. You start on the axis, through the axis to the furthest point. Furthest point. Top minus bottom, so it's going to be 12 minus this guy, which is x squared minus 4x plus 7. So you can put that in parentheses, or use y1 where it's stored. Minus little r is from the axis to the closest point on the region. So 12 minus the line, 3/2 x plus 3 squared. Okay, in your calculator you could type 12 minus y1 in parentheses squared minus 12 minus y2 in parentheses squared if you wish. So you go to the calculator and type in math 9 parentheses 12 minus vars, y vars, enter, enter, close your parentheses squared, minus parentheses 12 minus vars, y vars, enter, y2, enter, parentheses squared, comma x, comma alpha A, comma alpha B, Okay, and then don't forget multiply by pi. So we get 354.888. Woohoo! Don't forget to rotate to 3 decimal places, okay? You can do it. I believe in you. You're very smart, okay? Study, study, study. And know that I love you, and I really enjoy teaching you, and finish strong. Okay,